we go. We ready? Let's go for a ride. Well, here we are, guys. 2016 Titan XD with a Cummins in it. So you guys know the trucks I've had. If you've been following my channel, I've had all the fun trucks. F-250 diesel. I don't have to run down the whole thing. Definitely had diesels, gas, TRX, fun trucks, Lightning. The thought process with this truck is I bought it cheap, and these trucks are very inexpensive for what they are. However, you have to do some things on them to make them more reliable, because if you Google Nissan Titan XD and you look, this is basically not a half ton, not a 3/4 ton. It's kind of right in the middle. There's a lot of benefits to that, and I'm going to talk about that in this video. And for you guys looking at these things pre-owned, you've got a lot of questions like I did. So I did a lot of research before I bought the truck and talked to some friends and was on the forums like everybody else. And it seems like most of the stuff as far as reliability goes is emissions related. Not all of it, but most of it is. The EGR systems leak, and if they leak, that's it. It's catastrophic to the motor. You get water. I mean, just all these bad things that can happen. There is a wire harness where all the injectors are can fray and cause an injector to lock in, spraying fuel into the motor that obviously it floods it out and just destroys the crankshaft, which is a pretty big problem, obviously. So there's a lot of good information out there, but you really have to do some digging because these trucks are not volume oriented. They're not super popular. Most people don't even know what they are. So in this video, I'm going to go over, as you guys know, my truck guy perspective. Be honest with you up front. I bought this thing as kind of like a farm truck, so I'm going to tell you right now, based on EPA regulations, do not delete your truck. I have to say that, of course, just because here in the USA, that's what it is. It's a law. Now, in my town, I am in a rural area on an agricultural farm area where I don't have emissions, and this is a farm truck, so I can certainly delete it and have at it, right? So no big deal at all. So I am on my own private roads and sitting here out in the middle of the country, which is amazing. So for what I'm doing with it, it's perfect, and the truck runs better than ever. When I first got it, I honestly was like, where is this power? It was torquey, but that was it. It just did not feel that great. I was scared to merge out in traffic, and Nissan did not do a great job basically as far as the powertrain goes. They have two great powertrains, Cummins and Aisin, just like Ram does, right? The Aisin transmission's a 6-speed. It's fantastic. They're known for reliability. They tow, pull, do everything. This one's got a 5th wheel setup in it. I've got the airlift airbags in the back, and as you will see by this video, the mods I've done are just a 2-inch rough country lift, and I've trimmed the fenders a whole lot, and I still let full lock it a little bit of rub with these 35s. So basically, that's the quick summary. Let's roll through this thing. We'll walk around it and talk about it some more. So shout out to Synthetic Off-Road. The shifts, look how smooth they are. This truck drives more powerful, but almost like it's got a more performance-based stock tune on it. And what I mean by that is this is currently on a 60 horsepower deleted tune, and you can see it's smooth, it's easy to drive. It basically drives like it would when it was stock, or how it should have drove when it was stock. The shifts are right on point. So full disclosure, I purchased my original tune from Empire Diesel, which is a Canadian company. There's a lot of them that are, obviously, and of course farm use only. Talked about that already. And the tunes that they had on there were powerful, but the problem is there's an inherent issue with the Aisin transmission, the way Nissan has programmed it, there is like a flare-up that feels like the transmission's slipping. So the transmission's not broken, but when you put the tune on it and the way it was tuned, as soon as you went near the throttle, it was basically like the power wasn't getting to the ground. It would rev up and spike and then cause the fuel to spike. There's a lot of bad tunes out there. I'm not a fan of the tunes that are on that. You can see by this tune, it is night and day. So I'm gonna put the links in my description so you guys can check that tune out. It is the only tune you need to be looking at if you're gonna modify this thing, so. This thing does have a busted tailgate right here. I got a new one I'm going to be ordering. That's the way I got it. The guy that had it before me obviously hit it on something. Got some dents there. It's not perfect, but overall the rest of the truck is the other dent. That's the worst of it. But I'm using it as a farm work truck. Who cares, right? Love the sound. Removed, and then you've got the bypass pipe that comes with the kit back there. Got dual batteries, of course. Didn't have any leaks or anything in it. Sealed off right here. You can see the coolant. New pipes here. And I didn't do an inner intake. I just did a K&N. Works perfect. I have no issues with that. This is the old original pipe over here on this other side. One of the intercooler. Underneath, there you go. All right, here's the cab. This is a Platinum Edition, 90,000 miles. There's my buddy over there, my son Abram. 90,381. You guys can hear how this thing runs. We'll pop the hood here too. Nissan did a beautiful job of the interior. Very King Ranch style, got heated rear seats. The screen is tiny on the 2016s, 17s. They did upgrade the screens on the newer trucks, but they do make a full screen conversion. So you can have those big screens, kind of like they do in the GM trucks and the Fords and all that. So, cabin's quiet. As you can see the difference when I was inside and outside on this video. You can see I got fifth wheel set up in this thing. Big bed, the Titan boxes are waterproof. Got these nice clamps on the side. I use all of that. So got the skid steer over there. I have not towed it yet, but we do have the airbags right here. Now I was lucky, these were in there when I got the truck, so they have been very, very good. I haven't had any issues with them. I'll show you the little controller box for them. They're wireless on the control. So basically right here, airlift, I'm at 25 PSI. Obviously you can bump this up and down and lower or raise the back depending on what kind of load you're trying to do. I've got it basically so it sits level at the 25 pounds, as you'll see when I back up here. All right, the tires, you ready? My whole goal with this is to keep everything cheap. So I've heard some good and bad about these tires. Depends on the tire you're picking, but this Terra Hunter XT 35-12.5 LT, it's a low range E tire. I've got some aluminum spacers in there. I'll put them in the link. They're 1.75 inches. I put some brand new brakes cross-drilled on here. They have been fantastic. Big difference in braking, just overall. The pads will probably have to do with that too, obviously. You can barely see the spacer underneath there with the factory shock or strut. So these trucks, you have to trim out in here pretty aggressively. Take out the inner lower portion, which is kind of where your fog light is. And then the back, trimmed a lot in here, all the way back here. This is all metal behind here, and there's a lot of trimming to do, but you can see, here's the second screw. I had to go all the way up because the tire goes in here and it still partially rubs on that piece of metal, that hard lock, which I don't normally go all the way like that. But normal driving, parking lots, turning, you're fine. I have no issues with that. So if you don't want to trim it, obviously go higher, do a 6-inch lift. Rough Country makes that. I just didn't want to spend that much money at this time. I bought this truck pretty cheap, and it is a hell of a nice truck for that $20,000 range, I'll just say. I've got the hood popped here, but I don't like a lot of poke. That is right on my limit of where I want the poke. I don't want it any more than that. So 1.75 inch spacer, you can see they're just past the factory platinum fenders that are on there. On the standard truck, they stick out just a little more because the fender, this part would not be here. That's just the factory platinum wheel. Obviously they fit on there. I love that look. It's nice and clean, it looks factory. I'm not a huge fan of aftermarket wheels. There are a couple I like, but I like this look. I wanted to keep it stock but beefy. Guys, love the truck. For what I use it for, it's everything I would need to tow is fine. I can tow the skid steer, especially with the air system in there. That's a major difference, of course. I've got a nice heavy duty frame on this thing. The truck now, after the delete, is, oh my God, it's so much smoother and faster. The turbo's instantly responsive now. The throttle response is way better because from the factory, it's absolutely garbage. So yes, when you read about these trucks, when they're stock, this is a truck that if you live in an area where you can delete it and you're doing off-road or farm work or whatever, then great. That's the way it needs to be, in my opinion, to make this truck absolutely shine. Otherwise, it's kind of a challenge to live with from what I've read on the forums is, you know, keeping an eye on babysitting the EGR valve and all of the gunk that gets caught up in there. When I took all that off and looked at it, inside of there was just gunked up. It's no different than any other diesel. You know, my friends with Super Duties and my friends with GMCs and Chevys, with my Ram friends, all the same. Basically, unfortunately, with all the emissions requirements, I completely understand there's certain states in certain areas you're not going to be able to do that in. So, you know, just showing off my truck for entertainment purposes. Obviously, you guys know me. I'm a car guy and a truck guy working for Porsche. This is my new farm truck. I bought it because it's cheap. I've got the Porsche in the background. That's my daily driver, and that's exactly the reason why when I work for Porsche, I want to drive their brand. So to get a truck like this and not have a, you know, $100,000 TRX or something crazy hanging around that I don't even want to throw wood in the bed, this made more sense to me. And the ride quality, because it's independent suspension, is exceptionally comfortable. So it drives like a bigger half-ton. It's got a nice weighted feel to it. I like it more than my Super Duty. I really do. Even after all the money I spent on the Carly suspension, which is fantastic and makes it way better, this is a better daily, definitely. I could take this to work. I can run it to Home Depot, and I'm just comfortable. I'm in heated and cooled seats. And I love the body style of it. I think it's a neat truck. People always ask me about it because it's unique. You don't see them everywhere. But yeah, you gotta learn to live with a truck that they don't build anymore. So 4 years they made this thing. You get your hands on one and have the opportunity to mess around with it. It's definitely a cool truck. Get on the forums, do your research. It's no different than any other diesel. Everything has its issues. But I would say the strong outweighs the negative on these things. Yes, there is this one actually had a new turbo put in at 80,000 miles and it's got 90 on it. So I have heard those turbos failing because in the earlier years, 16s and 17s or whatever, they had some oil seal issues. And there's also a very weird wastegate setup in these things that can fail, and if it fails, you lose your power and you got to try to find that part which is connected to the turbo. So there's some unique things that Nissan did with Cummins that they probably shouldn't have tried to reinvent the wheel. But overall, the truck now, the way it sits, the way it rides, these tires too, by the way, I can't get over how quiet and smooth they are. I thought they were going to be absolutely garbage, and they were under $1,000 for 35 12.5s. And you've seen my tire reviews on the Lightning and all the other trucks I've had them. Nito Ridge Grapplers, guys. I had the Recons. I've had the Toyo Open Countries. So there's a lot. I've had all the popular tires, and there are pros and cons to all those. This thing, for under $1,000, these 35s on this truck specifically, feels amazing. So don't be scared of them. I think they're great tires for $1,000. They're really hard to beat. And if they last 20, 30,000 miles, so be it. It is what it is. I'm not looking for long life. As soon as they start getting loud, they're gone. So, guys, I hope you liked the video. Like I said, it's a great truck. Specifically, Synthetic Off-Road. Shout out to you. I really appreciate it, the professionalism. Sometimes it takes a week for him to get back to you. If you pull him up on Facebook, that's the only way you're going to find it, Synthetic Off-Road. He has the best tunes. He is the only way to get your tune and your delete, period. He's the only way. I've seen all the other tunes. I've had the other tune from the other company, that Empire company out there. Their customer service was great, but of course, when I went at them and told them about my transmission not shifting correctly and it felt weird, they basically said there was no way to fix it. I know the ASINs say they're untunable, but Synthetic Off-Road has found a way to make it work, make it shift right, make the tune smooth, and make it feel like it should from the factory. So big shout out to Synthetic Off-Road on Facebook. Look them up. They are great. That is the only way you're going to do a Titan XD Cummins if you want it to run smooth and clean and not have some weird hard shifts and all that. So thank you guys for watching once again. Hope you liked the review. Comment below. Let me know if you got any questions. I'll get them answered as quick as I can. Dirk Bonzani, thanks again.